Hello students, welcome to Jagannath mathematics tutorial. So in today's lecture we are going to discuss the topic functions. This will be the very first lecture and this is useful for class 12 students who are in CBSE, ISC or preparing for JEE Mains and Advanced. So today we will discuss what is a function, what is the domain, codomain and range and how to find them, right? So if you are new to this channel, please like, share and subscribe to Jagannath Mathematics tutorials, and if you feel any doubt, you can contact me or you can write your doubt in the comment section, right? Alright, let's begin. So the first thing is, what is a function? So a function is a special type of relation where every element of a set A is mapped to a unique element of set B. Let us say we have two sets. This is set A and we have another set. This is set B, right? So what is a function? So according to the definition, a function is a special type of relation where every element of A, suppose we have the elements 1, 2 and 3, and in set B we have the elements A, B, C, D and E, right? So every element of A is mapped to a unique element of set B, okay? Let us say 1 is mapped to B, 2 is mapped to A and 3 is mapped to, let's say, C. Now this is a function, so we write this is a function from set A to set B, right? So here there are two conditions. First is this set is called the domain, right? So this is called the domain of F, the set A, and the second set, it is called the codomain of F, right? So first thing, the domain of F is equal to the set A, that is every element in A has an image in B. We can clearly see here that every element of the set A has image in set B, right? Yes. Next condition is that no element of A is mapped to more than one element in B. Okay. What does this mean? Let us say we have two sets. Let's say this is set A, this is set B. Let's say we have the elements 1, 2 and 3 and it is A, B, C, D and E. Now it says that suppose I map 1 to A and I am doing 1 to B. So now here this 1 is mapped to A and B. That means it has two images. Whenever we have such a case, we say this is not a function, right? So for a function, what should be the case? That each element of A should have a unique image in B, but no element of A is mapped to more than one element in B, right? Okay, so I believe this is clear, right? Yeah. So the next thing we are going to discuss is what's a domain, codomain and range of a function. Let's say that we are considering a function from A to B, right? Which means what will be the domain? The domain will be set A. What will be the codomain? That's correct. The codomain will be set B, right? Yes. Domain means what? Domain means the set A containing all the possible input, right? And codomain means the set B which contains all the possible outputs. Now suppose I have a function. Let us consider this. This is set A and this is set B, right? And we have defined a function F from A to B. Let's say it is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and it is A, B, C, D, E, F and G. Let's say 1 maps to B 2 maps to A, 3 maps to C, 4 maps to F, and 5 will map to G. So yes, this is a function first of all, right? Now, second thing is that here we know what are the inputs. The inputs are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, which is set A. That means this A will be the domain. Next thing is codomain. Codomain means the entire set B, right? Now the next concept is range. What does range means? Range means the set of actual outputs, right? Or we can say range means the image of the elements of set A of the domain, right? It is basically the image set of all the elements of the domain. For example, if we want to write here the range set, what will be the range of F? So for that you see where the images are, right? So A, B, C and F and G. So A, B, C, F and G. This will be the range and they are contained inside the set B. So that is why we say that the range of F is a subset of codomain of F, right? We have learned this in our previous lectures of standard 11 as well, right? So for this function, what will be the domain? The domain will be the set A, 1, 2, 3. What will be the codomain? The set B, right? So and what will be the range? The range will be A, B and C. So this is the concept of domain, codomain and range, right? Now let's see the first example here. It says let f be a function defined by fx equals to 5x squared plus 2, where x belongs to the real number, right? That means the input are from the real number. That means the domain will be R, right? Yes. Next, they are asking us find the image of 3 under F. What does this mean? Let's say this is the domain R, the codomain, that will be the set of positive real numbers, right? So now they are asking us that what will be the image of 3, the image of 3 under F. For that I need to find F3. So here we are given fx, that's 5x squared plus 2. So F3 will be 5 into 3 square plus 2. So 3 square means 9, 5 times 9, that is 45. 45 plus 2, that will be 47. So F3, which means the image of 3 under F, that is 47. Similarly, we can find F2, that will be 5 into 2 square plus 2. So 2 square means 4. So 5 into 4, that is 20. 20 plus 2, 22. So my F2 will be 22, right? Now the first one is done. Second is find F3 times F2. So here we know what's F3, what's F2. So F3 times F2 will be, we just need to multiply 47 times 22, that will be 1034. So this is 1034. Next question is find x such that fx is 22. Now think on this. So here what are we given? We are given fx is 22, right? Now from here what's the value for fx? That is 5x squared plus 2, which means 5x squared plus 2, that is equals to 22. Next step is that we transpose the 2 to the RHS. This will become 22 minus 2. So 5x squared, that is 20. So x squared will be 20 by 5. So that will be 4. Now x square is 4. So the possible is plus minus 2. So this is the correct answer. We are getting 2x, right? Yes. So this is how we solve these type of problems. Next question is this, that find the domain of this function, right? Okay, now domain means what? Domain means the set of possible inputs, set of all possible inputs. Now think of a function. Suppose I take fx is equals to 2 by x, right? Now this x can take 1, this x can take 2, 3, 4 and so on. But can it take 0? Can we put 0 here? No. Because if I put 0 here, so 2 by 0, that will be undefined, right? That means for this function, what will be the domain? The domain will be all those real number except 0, right? Yes. Now check, where will this function be undefined? When the denominator is going to be 0, right? So for the domain of the function f, fx should be a real number, right? Which means I cannot have the denominator as 0, right? This implies that x square minus 8x plus 12 should not be equal to 0. Now we must factorize this. So 12 we can factorize as 2 and 6, right? And if we solve this, so x will get common, so x minus 2 minus 6, x minus 2, that is not equal to 0, right? So from here we can factorize them as x minus 2 and x minus 6 is not equal to 0, which means that x cannot be equal to 2 and x cannot be equal to 6. So what will be the domain for this? The domain for this will be all those real number except 2 and 6. So this is the domain of the function f, right? Yes. Let's see a similar problem like this. Let's say that we are asked to find the range of this function, right? So here your function is 2 minus 3x, where x belongs to the set of a real number. That means we are given the domain as a real number, right? Now one more thing is that x should be positive. That means the domain should be the set of positive real number, right? But here they are asking us the range of the function, right? So how to find the range? Let's check. So here what we do is for range let y is equals to fx, which is equals to 2 minus 3x, right? 2 minus 3x. Okay, now x is positive. According to the question, x is positive from here. So if this x is positive, it means that 3x will also be positive, right? Yes. And if I put a negative sign, so the sign will change, so minus 3x will be negative, right? And if I add 2, so 2 minus 3x, that will be less than 2, right? So basically we added 2 on both the sides. Next step is, we can see that this is basically y, which means y is less than 2. So you can imagine here that if we have a number line over here, let's say that this is 2, so y is less than 2 means we should draw a circle here and it goes till infinity. So y less than 2 will mean y should belongs to minus infinity to 2, right? So what will be the range? The range of f is minus infinity to 2, right? So This is how we can find out the domain and range. Alright. Next question. Find the domain and range of this function fx is equals to 3x square minus 5. Alright. So now for the domain, think. What are the possible inputs for domain of f? So fx is equals to 3x square minus 5. Now for the domain, this must be a real number, right? Now, is it undefined anywhere? No, that's not. So if this is not undefined anywhere, which means this 3x square minus 5 is always real number for any x in R. For all x in R, this will be a real number. So what will be the domain? The domain of f, we denote it like d of f, that will be the real number. Right? Now we will talk about the range. For range, always keep in mind, whenever we are finding out the range, you let y is equals to fx, right? Now fx is 3x square minus 5. Okay. Now think it like this, that for all x in R, we know if x belongs to this set of real number, x square will always be greater than or equal to 0. Yes or no? Yes. And if I multiply both sides by 3, it will still be the same, which means 3x square should always be greater than equal to 0. Now if I subtract 5 from both the sides, let's subtract 5. So it will be 3x square minus 5 is greater than equal to minus 5. Now this is equal to y, check. 3x square minus 5 is equal to y, which means y should be greater than or equal to minus 5, right? So from here, if we draw a number line again, so we can see from here that, let's say this is minus 5 greater than equal to, means we should color the circle and move forward till plus infinity. So y greater than equal to minus 5 means y belongs to minus 5 closed and infinity open, right? So what will be the range for this? The range of f, we denote it like r of f, that is from minus 5 to infinity. So this is the range of the given function. So I hope this is clear to all. Alright, let's move ahead. Next question is this. Find the domain and range of the function fx, which is equals to square root 3 minus 2x. Right? So if you have read about the square root function, so for the square root function, let's say we are talking about the square root of 4, that is always 2, right? The square root of 9, that is 3. Now in square root, for the case of the real number, we always have a positive number, right, inside it. So x should be positive, right? So this x should be greater than or equal to 0 for this function, right? Now what are we given? We are given fx is equals to square root 3 minus 2x. So the inside part should be positive, right? So 3 minus 2x should be greater than or equal to 0, right? So from here we can say that if I transpose the negative 2x to the RHS, that will be 3 will be greater than or equal to 2x, right? And if we divide both sides by 2, so 3 by 2 is greater than equals to x, or we can say that x is less than or equal to 3 by 2. So what will be the domain? The domain will be all those numbers which are less than 3 by 2, right? So if you can see this, so this is the 3 by 2, since this is less than or equal to 3 by 2. So the domain of f will be minus infinity to 3 by 2. This will be the domain, right? Why? Because x, it belongs to minus infinity to 3 by 2. Right? So this is how we can find out the domain. Next thing is range. So for range, again, we know the steps. Let y is equals to fx. Now what is the fx? That is square root 3 minus 2x. Right? So now what we do is that we know the square root function is always positive, right? Which means that since 3 minus 2x, from here we are taking this fact that 3 minus 2x is greater than or equal to 0. That means the square root is always positive, right? And this is y from here. So y should always be greater than or equal to 0, right? So what will be the range? Y should belongs to 0 to infinity. So the range of f, that will be 0 to infinity. Okay. Yes. So the domain is this and the range is this. Alright, let's move ahead. Next is find the domain and range of this function. So here, what are we given? We are given fx is equals to 1 upon square root 5 minus x. Now we are given here the denominator is 1 minus square root 5 minus x. Now think it like this, that if we have the function fx equals to square root 5 minus x, so for this 5 minus x should be greater than or equal to 0, right? But you can see here, this is in the denominator. So can I take this as equal to 0? Obviously not, right? Why? Because if I take it as 0, then it will be undefined. So now what should we do? How to define this? So since it is a square root function, it should be greater than or equal to, but I cannot take equal to 0. So I have to take this condition. So 5 minus x should be positive. That's it, right? So if 5 minus x is positive, if we transpose, so 5 will be greater than x or x will be less than 5. That means x should belongs to minus infinity to 5, right? So what will be the domain? This is the domain. So the domain is minus infinity to 5. That's it. Clear? Yes. Now how to find out the range? They are asking us the range as well. So for range, let y is equals to fx. So y is equals to 1 by square root 5 minus x, right? Now what we say is that this square root function, we can see it from here, that square root 5 minus x is always positive, right? And 1 by a positive number is always positive, right? So from here, what can we say? That y is always positive. So what will be the range? The range will be 0 to infinity, right? One more way to do this is, you can think it like that x is less than 5, right? Which means 5 minus x should be greater than 0. So square root 5 minus x, that is always positive. 1 by square root 5 minus x, that is always positive, and this is basically the y. So y is positive, right? So here, this is how we can find out the domain and range. Next question, find the domain and range for this function fx, which is equals to x minus 3 upon 2x plus 1. Now, for this type of function, we can see the denominator should not be equal to 0, right? So 2x plus 1 should not be equal to 0. That means 2x should not be equal to negative 1 and x should not be equal to negative half. So what will be the domain? The domain will be all those real number except negative half, right? Yes. How to find the range? Let us see. So for range of f, let y is equals to x minus 3 upon 2x plus 1, right? Now what you do, we always write x is a that y is a function of x. Now for these type of problems, you try to find out x as a function of y. Okay, how to do it? Let's see. So first thing, we will cross multiply. When we cross multiply, this will become y times 2x plus 1 is equals to x minus 3. So this will be 2xy plus y is equals to x minus 3. You transpose x from the RHS, so that will be negative x, and if I transpose the y, so that will be negative y. X is common here, take x common, so this is 2y minus 1. So this will be 2y minus 1, which is equals to negative 3 negative y. So x will be negative 3 negative y upon 2y minus 1. Now you can see that x is a function of y. X is a function of y. Now what will be the domain for this? The domain should be that the denominator is not 0, right? Which means we can say that 2y minus 1 should not be equal to 0, or 2y should not be equal to 1, or y should not be equal to half, right? So basically the range will be what? The range will be all those real number except half. So this is how we can find out the range of this function, right? So the domain is this and the range is this. Okay, so I believe this is clear. Yes. Now you can also join my course, right? So if you are in class 12 and you're from any board like CBSE or ISC and preparing for JEE Mains or CUET, right? So we will cover all the syllabus. We have the expert faculty, small batches, mock test and doubt sessions as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me on 620-621-4545, right? Yes. All right. Next, for this question, find the domain and range of the function fx. This is equals to x square upon 1 plus x square. Now what we do is that for domain, see, for domain the denominator should not be equal to 0. Now you can take any x, right? You can take any x from R, and we all know that x square is always positive. So how can 1 plus x square be 0? So that will also be positive only, right? So what can be the domain? The domain is x which belongs to R. So the domain will be the set of real numbers, right? Now how to calculate the range? How to calculate the range? So for range, we can again assume that let y is equals to fx, which is equals to x square upon 1 plus x square, right? Now you can think x as a function of y. So for that, your y is this, if we cross multiply, we get y into 1 plus x square equals to x square. We can open the brackets and I can transpose the x square to the LHS, right? So x square, that's this. So finally we can see x square is minus y upon y minus 1. This is the x square. Now what will be x? Okay, one more thing here is that x should be like, see here the x is r, right? But here for this function y minus 1, y minus 1 should not be 0, right? Okay, yes. So what can we do here? So here what we basically do is that this number, since it is x square, so can it be negative? X square is never negative, right? See this, x square, which is minus y upon y minus 1, this should always be greater than equal to 0. Now how can it be greater than or equal to 0? Let us see the condition. So now what we basically do, since this is y minus 1, so what we need to do, we should multiply both sides by a positive number. So multiplying both sides by y minus 1 square. So if I multiply both sides by y minus 1 square, what will we get? 0 times anything will be 0, and this will get cancelled out. So it is negative y times y minus 1 is greater than or equal to 0, right? And if I transpose the minus sign, so the sign will change to less than or equal to. Now in class 11 we have all learned how to find this, right? What are the critical points? The critical points are 0 and 1, right? So it is plus minus plus. Now it is less than or equal to, right? But I cannot take 1. See from here, y is not equal to 1, and we have to take the negative part of it. What will be the negative part? This. But at 1 we will have the open circle y, because we cannot take y as 1, but for 0 we can have a closed circle. So y will belong to 0, 1. So what's the range of fx? So the range of f, that is 0, 1.